What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to this R1 repair for a subscriber. 2001 Yamaha R1 5JJ. Last video we left off with the carburetors off. So basically now I'm going to end up taking these float bowls off and we'll see how it looks inside. Hopefully it's not too bad. All right, so this doesn't look too bad. There is a bit of crud in there for sure. Like there's crud in there. So I'm pretty positive that the jets are gonna be dirty. So I'm gonna take those out, clean them. Any passageways that I can spray compressed air into with the carb cleaner, I'm gonna do that. And this should be good to go. We'll probably just flap it back in there, but I don't know if you can see that on here, but there is some crud in here for sure. So, you know, like I said, it was definitely dirty. I'm sure it was running pretty lean because of that, but we'll start hammering this out and then we'll get right back. So just a quick little shot of one of the bowls and you can see this thing is pretty filthy. It's pretty bad. So it was definitely overdue for cleaning for sure. You could see all that dirt in there and grime. So just wanted to show you guys that. There we go. That's a better one. All right, let's get on to the other ones. So we have our carbs squeaky clean now on the inside. We made sure that the jets, both the main and the pilot jet, were nice and clean. I made sure that I was able to see light through them. So those are all set. We tried cleaning the passageways in here as best as we could. So that should be good. Next, we're gonna check our throttle position sensor, which is right over there on the right. Of course, when we're doing this, we make sure that our fuel pump is off with the little red switch on the right. We make sure that is off. So we'll turn the key on. As you see, it does the normal swing and it won't show anything. Now, when I'm gonna go test the sensor with the plug, we'll see what this thing does. Ooh. Okay, so obviously, as you can see, it's at like 10K, which is not right. So I gotta adjust the throttle position sensor. Shut the bike rack off, the ignition, and adjust the throttle position sensor, and then we should be pretty good. All right, so I adjusted the throttle position sensor. We're gonna check it one more time, and it should go right to 5K on the dash. So we'll turn this on, and then we'll do our test. And if it's right around 5K, then we are good with the adjustment. So let's do this real quick. All right, so it's just about, there you go. It's right about there at 5K. It's kind of bouncing all over the place. It should be kind of steady for the most part, but there we go. Yeah, like I said, it's right at the 5K mark now, so that is good. It's adjusted properly. I just gotta tighten up the throttle position sensor now, and then we can put the carbs back into the bike. We have our carbs back installed now. They're all tight. It's very difficult to tighten each bolt to hold down the carburetors. But before I plug this back into the throttle position sensor, I want to show you what these bikes look like when they're throwing a fault code. So since this isn't plugged into there, it's going to throw a 3K tachometer code. And basically when you turn the key on, you'll get your normal sweep, whatever. When the bike's running, you'll have your normal RPM. It will shoot up to the trouble code for this throttle position sensor. That will be 3K. It will drop back to 0, and then it will go back to normal RPM and repeat. But I just wanted to show you guys that so you have an idea. So if you're riding and all of a sudden your tach just drops to 0, and then it kind of goes to 3K, and then goes back down, you'll know that your tach isn't wrong. There's nothing wrong with it. It was just that the sensor has failed. So we're gonna turn this on, and like I said, you're gonna see like earlier that since it wasn't plugged in, it shoots up to 3K, then it will go back down. It'll be normal RPM, and then it will shoot up to 3K again, and it will keep repeating itself, as you see. And turn it back on, because that would be in diagnostic mode. Then you can see that it's totally fine, and there's no fault code. So just wanted to show you guys that. So there's different tachometer codes for this bike. for problem codes instead of just numbers like the O2 and up R1. So carbs are back in. We got these little velocity things back in there. That's all set. And something that we noticed was right there on the starter, that was loose. This wire was not really screwed in there, so we screwed that in nice and good. So that is all set. So that's good there. We'll get the airbox back on. I emptied the fuel tank. We got fresh fuel to put in there. I put my battery from my other bike that is new. I always put the date on it just so I know when it was installed into the bike. And we're gonna see what happens. I definitely did play around with the idle a bit before I took the carbs apart, so it might be a little high, it might be a little low. Obviously, I'll adjust it once we get the bike running long enough to get to operating a good hot operating temperature, and then we'll go from there. But let's throw all this stuff back on. So we got our airbox all cleaned. We cleaned both of those. We vacuumed out the holes just to make sure that there was nothing in there. We vacuumed our filter, and that thing is squeaky clean now. All that crap is out of there. As I mentioned in the last video, you can see this is missing one of the inlet rings, and this one is missing the thing to tighten it. So we ordered those. We got those right there from eBay. They were not cheap, that's for sure, because parts are getting harder to find for these bikes. So I got to put this back in here. We'll get the whole airbox assembly back together and throw it into the bike. We got everything hooked backed up, and we just wanted to show you guys that if your carbs are seated correctly, right from the frame to where here, this should be basically a straight line, as you can see. If it's over some, obviously it's not seated correctly. And of course, your airbox has to be able to mount to there. First time I got the carbs on there, I didn't mount them correctly. They were tilted up a little bit too much because when I put the airbox on, this was not getting level with here. So it might not be a bad idea if you're cleaning the carbs before you tighten down these bolts and seat them. Get your airbox seated on here, and then that will give you kind of a better guide. But like I said, as you can see, straight line going to there. And we'll go on the other side, and it will basically be the same deal. Like I said, frame to right there. Basically a straight line, as you can see that. And that's how you know it'll be seated correctly. All right, let's get this back on, and we'll fire this thing up finally. All right, guys, here we go. First start, I did take the fuse out for the fan just because it's constantly running and it doesn't need to do that. Obviously, I'll shut down the bike before it ends up getting too hot. But yeah, here we go. First start. Gotta keep the choke going or do something. Hard to see, but we're only at 100 degrees. I probably gotta adjust the idle a bit. So let's get it fully warmed up first, and then we'll see how this thing is idle wise. I'm gonna let this thing warm up and we'll get right back. Alright, so we're like 193 degrees right now. It's idling pretty decent. Not too bad. So something I did notice, and thank God I checked this out, was when I took the front sprocket cover off, because I saw that obviously the chain is way too loose. So that's one thing we got to address. And on the sprocket nut, this safety washer is supposed to be bent down to ever prevent this nut from coming off, and your sprocket coming off and your chain could end up actually, you know, hitting the engine case and cracking it, and then you're screwed. To say the least. So like I said, at least it's running pretty good now. No issues with the rectifier. There's no burning of the wires anymore. That is all good. I am gonna do this washer tab and bend it correctly so that this thing will not come loose. I do have to tighten the chain, and then we could probably take it for a ride. Sprockets are a bit, I think they'll be usable, but yeah, I mean, so far it's pretty good progress. Definitely happy to see it. All right, so we got our sprocket, safety washer, pressed up nice and tight against there, and I bent it a little bit there, so that should be good. And now we gotta tighten the chain because that is way too loose. So the chain's pretty tight now. We are actually gonna fix his oil sensor light because this was the wire, and it's hard to tell, but you can see there was some chain whack from there, probably from a previous year or whenever it was that either the chain broke or whatever it was, but you could see that the this wire for the oil level sensor was basically ripped off, and you can see there's a little bit of exposed wire there. We'll cover that up and that'll be fine. But this will fix his oil pressure light, so I'm just running another wire to it, and then we'll end up hooking everything up, and that should be good. But yeah, now he won't have any lights on his dash, which is awesome. So, all right, let me button that up. Like I said, sprocket's done, chain's tight, and now we are fixing the oil pressure sensor. So we got the wiring all done. I'll just zip tie these all together. And as you can see, when we turn on the dash, it will first show the light like it should normally do, and it will not be continuously on. And there we go. Like I said, no lights on the dash now. Beautiful thing. So that's all set. I'm gonna, like I said, tighten up this wiring with some zip tie, and then we'll get the cover back on there, and we'll put the rear set back on in there. Okay, so that's all buttoned up, and since we had an issue with the fan constantly running, we ended up bypassing it and using a little switch right here. So as you'll see, usually when we had the fuse in here for the fan, I took it out before when I was starting and everything just because it was constantly running. But now since we bypassed it with this manual switch, see the thing turns on, and then anytime if you want to turn the fan on, you just boom, flip the switch, and there you go, all good to go. All right, guys, I think that's going to do it for today's video. The bike is basically all ready to go now for the most part. Can take it out for a little voyage ride and just give her a little bit of guns, see how she does. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you in the next video.